All right, so first things first, to kick off today's cannabis-powered yet sports-driven talk show. It's hard to deny the positive effect that cannabis has had on sports in the past and sports today as we know it. Cannabis is a part of sports whether you like it or not.
The Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by the Huddle Chat Sports Show and your host, Dallas Clark, also known as Indo is my Nindo. Everybody huddle up, grab a piece of paper, and get settled in. It's just about time for the Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by the Huddle Chat Sports Show and your host, Indo is my Nindo. Let's get it started, baby.
What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's Huddle Chat Sports pregame kickoff show for the NFL. How is everybody doing today? I'm not sure why my camera is so blurry. We got to clear that up. Give me 1 second here while we get things going. Let me know in the comments how everybody is doing today, and we can get everything started. We're going to go through all the games that we're talking about today that are on the schedule. We're going to be going through the injury report, giving you guys a couple of betting lines that you can make today. I'm trying to get you guys set up for Sunday correctly. So give me just one moment here. Like I said, I have got to get this camera fixed. So give me just 1 second. Still not better. It's whatever. We're going to have to obviously just deal with it today. I'm not quite sure why the camera is being that way, but it's whatever, guys. Welcome to the Huddle Chat Sports Network. Like I said, the kickoff show. Drop in the comments. Let me know how y'all are feeling today. We're going to be talking about first, obviously, that Thursday night football game that we saw this week, that Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and it was kind of what we expected. A little bit better of a game than it should have been, but the Cowboys ended up coming through in the end. If you had the Giants kicker in fantasy, you were absolutely loving life this weekend. Let's see what we got going on. First game we're going to be talking about is going to be that New Orleans Saints Atlanta Falcons that we're doing today. What's happening, baby? Jake Ring said, yo, loved the Jawan Jennings play last week. I'm glad that it worked out for you. Now, I do want to give you a quick caveat on this Jawan Jennings. It looks like this week, Deebo Samuel may be back for the San Francisco 49ers. I haven't got the official injury report, which will be coming here in about the next 25 minutes. But I did see that Deebo Samuel is trending like he's going to be playing this week, as well as George Kittle. So Jawan Jennings might have etched out himself a role, but I would not have the same confidence in him that I had last week. Let's see what we got going on here. So when we're talking about the games, like I said, we're going to be moving on to that New Orleans Saints Atlanta Falcons game, which I think is going to be surprisingly a really good game this week. Man, this camera is driving me crazy today. I wish I could fix it, but oh well. Like I said, we got a really good game coming this week from the New Orleans Saints Atlanta Falcons game. Wait. And we fixed it. Let's go. Anyway, I'm liking Derek Carr this week as a streaming quarterback if you're in need. But it's hard to trust Derek Carr. I know what he did in these first couple of weeks, but it's really hard to trust Derek Carr at the current moment with your fantasy life if you're in need. I wouldn't be upset starting Derek Carr. I'm also going to be starting Sam Darnold potentially this week as well, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. I'm feeling good about Drake London, Kyle Pitts, the normal starters. I told you guys in my breakdown this week for the startums and situms going through each matchup that I'm really feeling pretty good. You're looking at Darnell Mooney as another player that I'm not very afraid of playing this week. He has big playability, and he's a flex option that you can definitely put in this week. He's got more targets thus far than Kyle Pitts, and I know the tight end position has been a little bit more iffy than the wide receiver position, but if you're feeling confident to start Kyle Pitts, I wouldn't be afraid to play Darnell Mooney if you need a flex option this week. Like I was talking about earlier when I was saying I was going to be starting Sam Darnold, we're moving into this Minnesota Green Bay Packers game. And I think Sam Darnold is going to be a pretty good, probably one of the best streaming quarterbacks that you can get this week. I'm confident with him this week. I'm confident with Josh Jacobs as well, at least with his volume. I know he's playing a tough matchup this weekend. He hasn't really been able to get things going a ton so far when it comes to playing against defenses, whether they're good or bad. However, I do think that Josh Jacobs, the volume that he gets, it's worth at least running back 2 production. You're also looking at Jaden Reed being a lot better of an option this week. And he's been a good option this whole time, but Jordan Love is coming back from that MCL sprain this week. He may not be the same Jordan Love mobility-wise, but you're looking at Jaden Reed having a big play option this week. I like him as well in my flex. I would wait to start Jordan Love unless you really need to. I wouldn't want to I really wouldn't want to put too much pressure on Jordan Love coming in this first game on your fantasy lineup, especially if you got a lot of losses right now. I definitely wouldn't be looking at Jordan Love necessarily this week. I'd kind of take the wait and see approach if I could afford it this week. Let's see what we got going on here. As far as, of course, we're starting Jay Jettas. Justin Jefferson's going to look pretty good this week. Jordan Addison, I believe, is going to be back this week, but I'm also taking the wait and see approach on him. If you guys didn't see it in my Stardom Sittums episode this week, Jalen Naylor is the only wide receiver to catch a touchdown in all 3 games this season. He's the touchdown leader as far as wide receivers go. So Jalen Naylor, also another big option, and he's available in a ton of leagues. So if you need some help, if you need a hero, Jalen Naylor might just be the guy to help you out. As far as this game goes, I think the Minnesota Vikings win this game. I think it's going to be a closer game than Minnesota Vikings fans would like. I'm looking at a 24-21 end score with the Minnesota Vikings coming out on top. It wouldn't be surprising if the Packers win, so I definitely would take the spread on the Packers if you're looking at betting this morning. Moving on to the next game, which is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, Indianapolis Colts. Shout out to the couple Steelers fans that we have that like to watch this show as well. Hopefully you guys end up a little bit sadder at the end of the day than I am. That's the goal for me, at least. I'm benching Anthony Richardson if you can afford it. I even went out in a league. I didn't have a backup quarterback for Anthony Richardson. I picked up Sam Darnold, like I said, and I'm starting Sam Darnold this week over Anthony Richardson. I'd start Justin Fields potentially this week over Anthony Richardson. Of course, as a Colts fan, I want Anthony Richardson to have a good game. I'd hope he has a good game. But with my fantasy football life on the line, I just don't think I can put Anthony Richardson comfortably in my starting quarterback spot, unless I am about as desperate as you possibly could get. I know my pops, he always takes 3 and 4 quarterbacks just to make sure that nobody can get him. I don't understand really how that helps him out. However, there's a ton of quarterback options out there, so it doesn't really Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But like I said, I'm benching Anthony Richardson. There's got to be a Geno Smith, a Jared Goff, a Sam Darnold, somebody out there that you can play this week. Steelers defense is vicious. Of course, we're playing them. And you're looking at Anthony Richardson not running as much. And that's really going to be the big determining factor on Anthony Richardson's value. If Jaden Daniels was starting to get less quarterback runs designed for him to play, Jaden Daniels' value would be trash. And that's exactly what is happening to Anthony Richardson this week. Now, moving on into the other players, of course, I'm starting Jonathan Taylor with confidence. I think JT gets 100 yards today. That is the recipe for the Indianapolis Colts to get a victory, is 100 yards from Jonathan Taylor, 20 carries to Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts have a much better chance of winning. I'm also staying clear of Indianapolis wide receivers unless I have to, and I'm big on Najee Harris. I think that the Indianapolis Colts really are going to put up a tough game. It's all going to depend on the Colts offense and on how this game goes. If they look the way that they've looked over the past 3 weeks, the Indianapolis Colts are going to be looking pretty sad this as far as in your fantasy football lineup this week. But if the Colts offense can get going, like you would hope they would, like they're supposed to on paper, this can be a really good game. I don't think it's going to be a crazy shootout or anything. I'm looking at maybe a 17-20 end score, Colts up top. Unless the Colts really just don't want to come out and play football and struggle to put up 10 points, then the Steelers went up 21-10. It's going to be a couple options there for you guys today. Moving on into the next game, which would be Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. You're looking at, there's not really many people I'm not starting in this game. I'm seeing a ton of action going to Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert in this game. You're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles this week, not having Devontae Smith, not having A.J. Brown. I like Jalen Hurts this week, even though he's going to be missing some options this week. You're looking at Jahan Dotson might even be a decent option in a deeper league for you this week. I think Jalen Hurts gets more rushing appeal this week. You haven't seen him getting any of those tush-push carries, none of those tush-push touchdowns, and that's been really lowering his value this week a lot as well. And I'm keeping Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all in my lineup as well. Do you trust Baker Mayfield? That's the question of the day. Is if Baker Mayfield if I'm feeling confident enough to start Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, maybe not Rachaad White, then I'm feeling like if you need a quarterback, Baker Mayfield is definitely going to be the way to go this week. Now, as far as the game score, I think Philadelphia is going to get this game, but I also think that with no pass catchers, Tampa Bay stands a really good chance to put up a really good fight. So far in these first 4 games we've talked about, I'm looking at really close scores in all these games. I'm hoping that we don't get many blowouts this week like we have in these last few weeks. Even though it's been underdogs blowing people out, we need a lot more close football games for fantasy football fans and for football fans in general. And I think this game is going to continue that trend. I think Tampa Bay puts up 24. I think Philly puts up 27, and it's going to be another 3-point win for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Moving on to Houston, Jacksonville. Honestly, you're all in on pretty much every Houston Texans player and all out on pretty much everybody not named Travis Etienne in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform. As far as injuries, no Evan Ingram in that game. You're looking at Tank Bigsby still kind of coming out the other end of this injury, but he's going to be playing today. But I'm not liking the Jacksonville Jaguars' chances in really putting up a good game. I think this is going to be our first big blowout. At least the Texans better blow the Jaguars out, or Texans fans are going to have a lot of problems. As far as injuries for the Texans, they still have no Joe Mixon and still have no Dameon Pierce. So if you have Cam Akers, keep him in your lineup. Keep him going. There's also no Tank Dell. Dalton Schultz might get a little bit more attention today, but this offense has shown that it's struggling to support 3 wide receivers, just like most offenses would, outside of maybe the Minnesota Vikings. But I definitely think that when it comes to the Houston Texans, everybody that you think you should be starting, you should be starting. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm staying away from just about everybody. As far as Jacksonville Jaguars injuries go, let's see what we got here. I actually do not have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, there it is right there. Like I said, we have no Evan Ingram, no Gabe Davis this week. Tank Bigsby still on the injury report. Let's see here. All right. So let's see what the Jaguars we're looking at. Like I said, Evan Ingram is out. You're looking at Gabe Davis being questionable still and Tank Bigsby being questionable. They missed most of the practice this week leading into the game. So you're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars having a lot of questions. And that's why I'm saying I'm still confident in Travis Etienne, because Tank Bigsby on the other end of this injury is not going to be putting up as much information or as much statistics as you would like. Elijah says, what's happening? What's happening, big dog? How you doing, man? It's great to see you. Thanks for checking out the show. Let me know, y'all, if you have any questions for your lineups today. I actually want to go through my YouTube really fast. I just want to make sure that I haven't gotten it, because I remember last week, like Jake Rings, my boy, posted a comment on one of my videos the night before the live episode, and I missed it. So I just want to see if we missed any comments on our recent videos or hear anything that we need to respond to. Nope, it does not look like it. Perfect. Okay, so great. We just have the comments so far that we have here in our episode today, which is amazing. You got a lot. You got Jake Ring saying Jawan, Carson Steele, Waddle, Brian Thomas Jr., Leggett, full PPR. Am I starting one or two, or what? Like what's the options here? I think if we're ordering it, I'm gonna go Steele, BTJ, Leggett, Jawan, Waddle. That's where I'm going to go with my rankings there. As far as putting them in order, Steele, just because you're looking at Isaiah Pacheco still not being there, looking at the opportunity that he's going to get in this offense today. Still no Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you're still looking at being able to ride that Carson Steele train. I think Brian Thomas Jr. he's getting a lot of volume, and I'm liking his opportunity. And Leggett, I think, is going to get a ton of uptick in targets this week. So like I said, I'm going to go Steele, BTJ, Leggett, Juan, Waddle, or Jawan. I keep calling him Juan for some reason. For the last flex position. Doing good. Thinking about sitting Zamir White and starting Swift. Praying to the fantasy gods he does something today. This is very interesting because me and Elijah actually made this trade, but I still have DeAndre Swift, Zamir White in another league. I'm dealing with that, and I need to start one of them in my last flex position. I could put Michael Pittman in my flex position, but like I just told you guys, I'm staying away from Indianapolis Colts players. When it comes to DeAndre Swift, Zamir White, I personally made the choice of going Zamir White. Zamir White has a better matchup, and I like the opportunity of the Las Vegas Raiders to actually have the chance to get up in this game and let game script get Zamir White some carries. Alexander Mattison hasn't been challenging Zamir White's role like we thought he was going to after week one. He hasn't been doing much better. A lot of the Zamir White problem has been bad offensive line play and bad game script, not allowing them to get the run game going very much. But DeAndre Swift is really struggling. The Bears are really struggling to kind of figure out their identity. DeAndre Swift has been one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL right now. And Roschon Johnson has been kind of eating into his carries more and more. So I personally had the same exact conundrum last night and went Zamir White, just because I know DeAndre Swift is projected more, but DeAndre Swift has been projected 10 fucking points every week, and he's only put up, 3 or 4. So I definitely think I'm going Zamir White over DeAndre Swift. We will see how that works out for either one of us. I'm actually curious. We're gonna talk about this next week. If you do start DeAndre Swift, I definitely can't wait to talk about that and see who made the right choice there. He said, I think Pickens get a good share to say I'm going Amon-Ra with Tyreek on the bench. Good play. I'm not going to lie to you. I think in one of the leagues we're doing, either THC Sports Showdown or another league that I'm doing, I have pretty much that same issue. I have Tyreek Hill. I put him on the bench today. I've got Amon-Ra starting, and I've got George Pickens starting. Damn, you've been listening to the Huddle Chat Sports Network, haven't you, Elijah? And I actually made that same exact move because I like the ceiling of Pickens and Amon-Ra. Tyreek Hill, of course, is going to still be a decent floor, but I'm just not confident in Miami players right now. But I do think that George Pickens is going to have a fairly good ceiling this week. You're looking at the Indianapolis Colts secondary being really hurt, and they let up a lot of points. So I think George Pickens is going to be in a good role today. And same thing with Amon-Ra in this potential shootout on Monday Night Football. Either way, you're still getting your Monday Night Football wide receiver with Amon-Ra. So I like that move right there. I definitely do not think that that's the wrong move to go with. Now, next games we're going to be talking about Cincinnati, Carolina. Not going to spend a ton of time on Cincinnati, Carolina. Excuse me. Obviously, we all think that the Bengals are going to finally start to get things right this week over the Carolina Panthers against one of the worst defenses in the league. You're looking at, like I was talking about earlier with Xavier Leggett in that Jake Rings question. Xavier Legette with no Deontay Johnson, or with Deontay Johnson being questionable going into this game with a groin injury, Adam Thielen being now on the injured reserve, you're looking at Xavier Legette kind of getting thrown into the fire a little bit quicker than the Carolina Panthers coaching staff was wanting him to. He's been getting more and more work every week, but they're going to have to put a lot of work on his shoulders this week in order for the Carolina Panthers to really stand a chance against Cincinnati. They're going to be in desperation mode, passing all game. So I think Xavier Legette definitely can show some flashes today. Today might be the Xavier Legette day. But with as far as the Jake Rings question, like I said, I think I like Carson Steele a little bit more. And Brian Thomas Jr. and Legette, I got kind of in the same boat. I think they're both going to get a ton of volume today. They're both in about the same spot on the depth chart right now, both rookie wide receivers, both on terrible offenses. So it's kind of the flip of a coin between BTJ and Legette. We've just seen it more consistently from BTJ. We're hoping to see it today from Legette, and that's why I ranked it that way. But you're not seeing many injuries so far in Cincinnati, Carolina. Mike Gesicki, if you need a tight end, everybody needs a tight end. So if you're really not confident in your tight end, go get Mike Gesicki. I just had my fiance do that, and hopefully she doesn't want to take the ring off by the end of the day because I gave her bad advice. Because Mike Gesicki is getting ton volume. You're looking at Jamar Chase finally starting to get going. Joe Burrow finally starting to get going. This Cincinnati Bengals offense typically struggling through September. And guess what? Today is the last day of September football for the Cincinnati Bengals. They started to get things going last week, and they're playing a bad offense this week, or bad defense this week. I'm liking Gesicki. I'm liking Jamar Chase. T. Higgins, I still feel like we wait a week this week on T. Higgins. However, it's hard. If you need T. Higgins, you got to play him. If you drafted him and you've been waiting on him to come back, you got to play him. But lower your expectations if you do play T. Higgins this week. How do you guys feel about Daniels versus Hurts? It's a very tough question. I feel like early in the season, you would have been like Hurts every damn day. But like I just said this week, I think Jaden Daniels has kind of started to get to must-start territory. You're looking at Philadelphia playing Tampa Bay. The chances that plus Jalen Hurts does not have A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. It's kind of like Brock Purdy. I wanted to sit Brock Purdy last week, but he played pretty decently. But I think that Jalen Hurts' ceiling is capped with no A.J. Brown, with no Devontae Smith. However, you're also relying on this Washington-Arizona game in the afternoon, where I think is going to be fairly one of the most interesting games to watch this week. You're looking at Jaden Daniels really getting to run a lot. He's starting to look a lot better in the passing game. So I'm not going to lie to you, especially if you really need if you need one of those shake it up type of weeks and you really need to start swinging for the fences, Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to lie to you, nobody would be mad at you starting him over Jalen Hurts this week. I think Jalen Hurts has a safer floor than Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels' ceiling for today's game is much higher than Jalen Hurts this week, in my personal opinion. And while we're talking about it, I might as well just finish talking about this Washington-Arizona game. Like I said, it's been established to start wide receivers and quarterbacks against Washington. Their defense, their secondary is terrible. You're looking at me even picking up Michael Wilson, and I'm starting Michael Wilson over Michael Pittman Jr. this week off the waiver wire, fresh off the presses. I think Michael Wilson is going to be one of the biggest sleeper options that you can play this week. You're looking at there being no Trey McBride. You're looking at Michael Wilson already having a big role, and I was talking about him in August during the pre-draft process, saying that Michael Wilson was one of those late-round draft picks that you needed to take a flyer on, and this is that week that this is going to pay off for you. Michael Wilson is going to start etching out a bigger role for himself this week. He's going to have an uptick in targets this week because there's no Trey McBride, and this is going to be a shootout because Arizona is going to go stupid on offense against this Washington defense this week. So I'm not going to lie to you, I'm pretty all in on pretty much every position so far in that Washington-Arizona game. No Austin Eckler this week. Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be a fantastic play for you as well. So just keep the confidence, and I'm really excited about that Washington-Arizona game this week as well. Now, moving on, Denver, New York Jets. I think that's going to be a kind of disappointing game. You're looking at kind of the return of the coach from the Denver Broncos that really let the Denver Broncos down, the Aaron Rodgers boy, Nathaniel Hackett. But you're looking at, can Bo Nix get it going? I really don't trust any Denver Broncos this week. I don't really trust Garrett Wilson enough this week to plug him in against Pat Surtain. I'm kind of staying away from this game in a large part, except for Breece Hall. And Braylon Allen is another one that I think is going to be a absolutely huge sleeper this week. If the New York Jets can absolutely stomp a mud hole in the Denver Broncos' ass like we all know they're going to this week, then you're looking at Braylon Allen getting a ton of garbage time carries late in the game. He's already got a standalone role when the Jets are just playing regular football, but when the Jets get a lead, they're going to take Breece Hall out, and Braylon Allen might exceed that 7.1 projected points that he has this week. I definitely think that the New York Jets win this game, and they win it handily. I'm talking about probably by 17 points. I'm looking at nothing crazy. I think the Broncos maybe can hopefully put up 13, a touchdown, 2 field goals. And then I'm thinking that the New York Jets are probably going to put up 21 to 24. Like I said, I'm looking at probably a 17-point loss for the Denver Broncos this week. And then the last morning game is going to be the Rams versus the Chicago Bears. We were just talking about a little bit ago. I think Caleb Williams, this is actually the week that Caleb Williams can really get right this year. You're looking at him playing a pretty terrible defense, a pretty terrible secondary. And obviously this team is not the same as it was when they had Aaron Donald on defense. You're looking at this Los Angeles Rams defense not really being able to get a good pressure rate right now. You're looking at this Rams secondary being absolutely piss poor. I like Rome Odunze with some flex appeal, with Keenan Allen being banged up, DJ Moore kind of being forgotten by the coaching staff. I also like Cole Kmet as well to get some opportunity for the Chicago Bears. As far as the Los Angeles Rams, we're looking at Kyron Williams. You're looking at Colby Parkinson. And even if you need to in a deeper league, Tutu Atwell might not be a terrible option for you this week. That's going to be it for the morning games. We had a little bot drop in there, you know what I'm saying, just in case you guys wanted to wonder what was going on here in the comments. Thank y'all for getting on that ass for me. That's my loyal community. Thank you guys so much. Let's see what we got going here for the rest of the afternoon games. Real quick, though, it is just about the top of the hour. I'm about to get this injury report, so hopefully we have no new injuries and a couple of pieces of good information for some of you players this week. Let's see here. Try to grab this updated information as soon as it hits the airwaves here. While I'm grabbing this injury report, make sure you drop in the comments below. Let me know about your matchup this week. How confident are you? Let me know if you have any questions on your matchup this week. I got you guys' back. Like I said, I tell you guys all the time, everybody always complains that nobody cares about your fantasy football lineup, but I care, guys. Like I want to hear all about it. I want you to tell me what your roster's looking like, what you're most excited about this week. Let me know what you guys got going on with your fantasy football lineups this week. Let me look here as far as this injury report. I'm going to go team by team. Looks like New Orleans Saints, nothing new. Spencer Rattler's out. That's funny. Atlanta Falcons, same thing. Nothing really new that we don't know of. Going to that Rams Chicago Bears game, Cooper Kupp, obviously, Puka Nacua, Tre'Davious White on defense. Nothing crazy for the Rams. Chicago Bears. So it looks like Keenan Allen is going to be playing. So that's good for Chicago Bears fans right now. You're also looking at offensive lineman Bill Murray being out, so that might also hurt DeAndre Swift from an offensive line that's already been struggling. Vikings-Packers game, we're looking at nobody really in Minnesota is going to be out in this game. That's going to be fantasy football relevant. Green Bay Packers, kind of the same situation. You're looking at Jordan Love finally being back in the game, and they've been looking for Love in all the wrong places, but it's been working out for the Green Bay Packers these last few weeks. Going into that Indianapolis Colts Pittsburgh Steelers game, Jaylen Warren is going to be out officially this week, which is going to be, like I said, increasing my confidence in Najee Harris this week. That's going to be it as far as fantasy relevance on the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the Colts, man, that Colts defense is looking tough today. We're missing Jannard Avery, Kenny Moore, and Kwity Paye on the defensive side of the ball, so that sucks for the Colts. Also missing tackle Blake Freeland, wide receiver Anthony Gould. The Colts have some issues, but nothing really fantasy relevant for us right there. Broncos Jets, looking at Zach Wilson being the emergency third quarterback. Damn, that sucks. How the great have fallen, I guess, huh? Nobody really in New York either is designated out. Philadelphia Eagles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that game, like I said, we're looking at wide receiver A.J. Brown being out, Devontae Smith being out, but we knew that coming into the day. So hopefully you're able to make those adjustments. Like I said, Jahan Dotson might be a great option for you this week. Nobody really going to be missing from that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. And it doesn't really look like any surprising things with Cincinnati, Carolina either. So it's looking like, for as far as fantasy football, All the injuries so far that have come, we've been expecting nothing like a couple weeks ago. We had George Kittle go out during on like Friday during pregame warmups or something like that. Everything is seeming fairly good so far. Looks like going into the afternoon games, Washington Commanders, Arizona Cardinals, Austin Eckler is out. Like I said, Jamison Crowder is out. So who are they going to throw the ball to besides Scary Terry? I'm looking at Zach Ertz having some pretty good options this week as well. As far as the afternoon games, the Las Vegas Raiders, Devontae Adams is going to be out this week, already having a struggling time this year. So I'm now looking at, I remember talking last night, Jocelyn, if you were paying attention, now is the perfect time for you to go look at Jacoby Myers on the waiver wire. You're looking at Devontae Adams. I did not know he was going to be out this week. So if you still need a wide receiver options, Jacoby Myers might get a good uptick in targets this week. But you're looking at the problem that I had with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers is Devontae Adams is barely inside the top 24 wide receivers as the number one wide receiver. You're looking at Jacoby Myers being ranked around wide receiver 33 right now. So without Devontae Adams, obviously Jacoby Myers is going to get an uptick in targets. I actually think I like Brock Bowers' uptick in targets more than Jacoby Myers. I feel like without taking the attention, without Devontae Adams taking the attention away from Jacoby Myers, I think Jacoby Myers gets locked down today. But if you still need a wide receiver option, Jacoby Myers definitely would be a decent one for you this week. But that's looking like about it. I've got nothing as far as the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers yet, of course. That's way too early for us to get that information. But it's looking like no surprising injuries, which is always great to know right now. She said, heard. Pops never set his lineup, so who knows, but I feel great about my other leagues. Yeah, he'll set it at 10:55. Sometimes I hope his internet blows out right when he's setting his lineup just to make him fucking pay for that stupid-ass game he likes to play. Elijah Ending said that leads to my next question about the Bears. Rate the three. I'm contemplating Romo Dunze, Pickens. I have Rice, Odunze, and Pickens. I have Rice starting and Pickens, but I'm thinking about putting in Odunze over Pickens. I don't think I like the Chicago Bears offense enough to tinker that much. You know, you don't want to get too cute this early in the season. I think Romo Dunze is a great flex option. But I think that Rashee Rice, he's in the top 15 wide receivers right now. You can't sit Patrick Mahomes number one target. I have George Pickens, like we already talked about. I think he's going to have a big game this week as well. So I definitely don't know if I'd make that move. I don't think it'd be a crazy option to do that. But I'm feeling more confident when it comes to the other two wide receivers than when it comes to Romo Dunze as far as your flex option this week. It's a good option. It's a good conundrum to be in, though, to have a lot of options that you can't figure out. You just got to make the right choices. I've got a couple leagues this week where I just got to make the right choices, and I got a couple league where I wish I could pay for another choice. But it just doesn't work out like that. We got to be smart on those waiver wires, and that's why you guys got to make sure to tune in to the week's episodes. If you haven't yet, hit that notifications bell and that like button down here on this video, whether you're watching it on Facebook, whether you're watching it on Twitch, whether you're watching it on YouTube. Shouts out to everybody from all three platforms. Smash that like button, hit that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell if you haven't yet, because I give you throughout the week the waiver wire pickups, stardom sit-ups, some buy low trade targets, players you should be getting off of your roster, players that you should be keeping on your roster. We're even starting to go with some sleeper options that we got going this week. I'm coming out with a video every day of the week for your fantasy football team. So make sure you drop those comments and make sure you stay tuned here on the Huddle Chat Sports Network. Got about 15 minutes left here on the show. We're going to be doing these last couple of games. I've already given you guys my fantasy breakdown on most of these games that you should have seen in the stardoms and sit-ems. And if you haven't yet, you still got time to watch the stardoms and sit-ems when I'm done here. So I'm not going to go through everything. Looks like Rachaad White was officially upgraded to active as far as the ESPN app goes. That's cute for him. Still sitting on my bench. Let's see what we got going on here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. All righty. So I know when we're coming to our betting lines. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up my betting lines. I had a couple of parlays. I just got to grab them up here for you really fast. All righty. So I'm looking at my parlays here. Give me 1 second to pull up my parlays and the information on why we're going with these picks that we're going with. Now is the time for y'all to make a little bit of money. So we're looking at an anytime. The first one is going to be an anytime touchdown scorer parlay this week. I think when you're looking at it, Give me 1 second. I like Kyron Williams a lot to score a touchdown this week. Kyron Williams has been very active, and he was flipping all up into the end zone last week. I think Kyron Williams, anytime touchdown score, is one of the safest that you can go with this week. Oh, man, excuse me. Like I said, Kyron Williams, we're going to be going with that for him to score a touchdown this week. I'm also going Alvin Kamara to score a touchdown this week as well. Alvin Kamara has been absolutely dominant, and you're looking at that Falcons defense letting up a lot of running back touchdowns so far this season. So you're looking at so far Kyron Williams and Alvin Kamara being in on that anytime touchdown parlay for you there. Let me see here. I had it all saved and everything, but I was having a hard time pulling it up. Give me one moment. I think Chuba Hubbard scoring a touchdown today is going to be very likely. He was a high-value draft pick in your draft, and you look at how Andy Dalton turned this offense around. I think he definitely gets them into the red zone many times today. And you're looking at this week, Chuba Hubbard. This last week, Chuba Hubbard had 169 total yards and a touchdown with it as well. Plus, they're playing that Cincinnati Bengals defense that has been letting up a lot of red zone carries, a lot of red zone work to running backs. So I'm definitely liking Chuba Hubbard as well in that anytime touchdown parlay. Dang. I got this little tickle in my throat I can't get rid of. And let's see here. I had one more. Let's see here. And then, of course, you got to go with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley helped us out last week big time in our parlay. Saquon Barkley being that touchdown scorer this week as well. So I'm looking at Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown. I'm looking at Kyron Williams anytime touchdown. I'm looking at Alvin Kamara anytime touchdown. And I think we're going to be looking pretty good with the anytime touchdown parlay there. Now, I know when you're looking at over and unders, I'm looking at CJ Stroud going over 266 passing yards this week. You're looking at Josh Allen being able to hit that line against this defense before halftime last week. So I think CJ Stroud definitely exceeds that over under on his passing yards. I think that Aaron Jones exceeds the 56.5 rushing yards this week as well on his game. You're looking at Aaron Jones averaging 76 yards per game right now. Plus, that Green Bay Packers defense has been very suspect, letting up 100-plus yard games to the likes of Jonathan Taylor, other running backs as well. So I definitely like that option there. So like I said, we got Aaron Jones going over on his 56.5. You got CJ Stroud going over on his 226.5. Let's see here. We got a couple of more for you guys to go through as far as the over-under picks that we got. I feel like it's too hard to make money off of betting the money lines right now, unless you're taking the chances on those dogs and they're paying off for you. I'm liking the money, the prop bets a little bit more than you have this week. Let's see here. All right, and then you're also going to be looking Jonathan Taylor going over on his rushing yards as well. I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to be a tough defense for the Indianapolis Colts to be playing against. However, you're looking at the Indianapolis Colts needing to get that running game going in order to get their passing game going, and you've seen that throughout the first 3 weeks, every single week so far, that if the Indianapolis Colts do not have some sort of rushing game going, they're pretty much stagnant on offense. So you're looking at the Indianapolis Colts basically begging Jonathan Taylor to get that 60-plus rushing yards that you're looking at this week. And I think that's going to be it as far as some over-unders I'm the most confident on right now. I'm trying to make you guys a little bit of money. I'm going to be posting some on my social medias as well before the games start, and as well as before the afternoon games start for you guys today to make some money as well on your FanDuel, ESPN bet, whatever it is that you are going to be betting on. Let's see here. Like I told you guys, as far as the spread, I'm taking that Minnesota Vikings spread, that +3 right now. I think that Seattle Seahawks +4.5. I think it's going to be a shootout, but the Seahawks offense is going to definitely stay in there. Those are a couple of the odds that are the spreads that I'm the most confident on. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm liking those. It looks like we don't really have many more injuries coming in. We got our parlays out there. We got any more comments? Doesn't look like y'all have any more questions on your fantasy football lineups this week. So I think that's going to be it for our pregame episode today. I want to get you guys out there. Make sure you guys can get your breakfast, get hydrated, all that good stuff before the game started, and really get set in, because today's the day that you're going to win all of your fantasy football leagues this week, unless you're playing me, because I got to win all my fantasy football leagues. You're going to lose one of them then. But anyway, I hope y'all guys have the best Sunday this week. I hope you win all your leagues, and I hope all your parlays hit, man. Now is the time. Rolling into October, everybody needs to make a little bit of money getting into spooky season. I hope you can help your bank account out, and I hope you guys can help your fantasy football lineup out by hitting that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any content that we release here on the Huddle Chat Sports Network. And make sure, as always, to keep your chin up and your attitude down, because this world has got too much sadness in it, guys. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.